Welcome, everybody. We've got our zkVerify Hackathon Awards live stream. I'm going to talk about the different projects that were presented or submitted to the online hackathon that we conducted over the last month. Talk about a little bit about the goals of it, how we accomplished it, what we're going to be doing in the future. So first off, as a introduction, I'm Rolf Versluis. I co-founded Horizon back in 2017, been in the ZK space for a long time. I'm now working as the growth lead for the zkVerify Foundation. So zkVerify, very exciting protocol in the ZK space. We're building zkVerify to be the main place where every type of ZK proof, Web 2 apps, Web 3 apps can be verified. When you create a ZK proof to prove a computation was done, or to do selective disclosure of information within a transaction, which is kind of vague. But an example might be you want to prove that you're over 18 to get into a bar or some other place, and you could have you could prove that you have an identity that from a government that shows that you're over 18, but all you have to show is your picture and it says that you're over 18. That's kind of an example. There's a ton more of use cases for zero knowledge proofs. If you haven't looked into them, you should. Okay, so first off, I'm going to show you what our hackathon looked like on DevFolio. DevFolio was great. We used the freemium version for this first hackathon. We're going to be doing other online hackathons in the future to use more advanced features of DevFolio. So very excited about that. So let me go ahead and share that right now so y'all can get a feel for what it is that we're doing. So I'm sharing the DevFolio hackathon setup, and the way we set this up, and we'll do this in the future, is we're going to put all the information on the main page with some links to our blog for specific details of all the rules and things like that, code of conduct. But if you're going to be doing this in the working with us in the future, make sure you go to the main page and look at everything. There's a lot of good information there. There's a lot of good resource links, example applications. We got even more example applications from this. Now, we did have $26,000 in prizes pledged. Not all of them were awarded, and I'll explain that a little bit more. But we have great speakers and judges. So we had a bunch of judges go through all the submissions and look at them from a technical standpoint, what they were trying to accomplish, quality of the code, did it work? So zkVerify was the main sponsor for this. Then we have gold, silver, and community sponsors. So Horizon, Hyperbridge, ZK Pass, Sindri. And then as we continued on through the hackathon, there was a lot of questions and answers. So had project ideas, code examples, previous hackathons, teams that were formed. I had individual discussions, and our devs had individual discussions on projects to create. Like to have these discussions, so not only from a technical standpoint, but from a business standpoint. So one of the things that we're trying to do is have ideas and see how people use the different tools that we put in place to create applications. And then the next part of that application is to get users to use those applications. One of the things that we carried over from Horizon is we want to encourage people to make applications that they own, that people can use, that the people that develop the applications then make money from. And that makes a good overall system and economy and encouragement. There's a lot of ZK applications that were created over the last 5 years that used Ethereum to verify them publicly, and they're now uneconomical. It costs $5 to $10 to verify a ZK proof on Ethereum. So there's a ton of really cool application examples on GitHub that are just too expensive to run. Price is always part of the design factor, and that's one of the reasons that we saw that zkVerify was necessary as a dedicated blockchain for public, decentralized, permissionless verification of ZK proofs. If we can verify proofs for a penny in one place, then people can start composing different proofs types together. It'll break down the siloed nature of, well, you develop in Cairo or CIRCOM or this one type of ZK virtual machine or in Noir or other types of domain-specific languages. It'll let you use any kind of proof or multiple proofs in a single type of application. So here's we included links to a ZK Hack hackathon. ZK Hack is one of the organizations we partner with and love working with. They do the ZK, so zkV does the ZK Hack hackathons, and they do the ZK summits. So included lots of different links to previous examples. Also included code for examples for integrating an EVM with zkVerify. Luca did a live stream on how that code works, and I know the feedback that we got, developers really want to see code examples and how it works. Even included, people are really working on mobile devices. There's a team, MoPro, that is trying to optimize ZK proof creation on mobile devices. One of the things that I'm looking forward to on our next hackathon is we should have a new verifier. We should have a Plonky 2 verifier, and Plonky 2 can create proofs on mobile in less than a second. So it's really cool. We have a whole zkVerify channel for videos, and then Horizon Lab CTO Zane Cheng, he gave a overview video at the ZK Accelerate event put on by Inganyama in Bangkok. So the specific prizes. We had multiple tracks. So we had the main prize pool track. Then we had other tracks as well. We had great speakers and judges with lots of experience throughout the industry. These are all people that I've been talking to over the last, since the things were submitted. And finally, the projects. So we got some really good projects in here. And our judges of all different types did a technical deep dive on all these projects. And so I have a presentation where I'm going to go over the specifics of some of them as we go through and award the prizes. So one of the things that was in the fine print was that you might not know, and I'll talk about this a little bit more, but zkVerify has an incentivized testnet going on. So the incentivized testnet has two phases. The first phase is really focused on developers developing applications towards working on zkVerify. And so by turning in our projects for this hackathon, y'all qualify for incentivized testnet points. And I'll talk about why that's going to be important in a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to pause to see if there's any comments or questions that are coming in from the live stream on x.com or on YouTube, and there isn't so far, but that's fine. So let me go ahead and share my presentation here, and we'll go through and we'll start to award the prizes. I'm looking forward to contacting each of the people and teams individually afterwards for everybody that submitted projects. Oh, so we already have a question. Nice. So how many total project submissions? So I'm going to go back to the publicly available tab. We haven't awarded the prizes yet on the publicly available tab here, but there were 7 projects. And on each of these projects, of course, you can click on them and see the details of them. So like this, a test verify, there's a video on how it works. There's a description of the problem that it solves. It's the people who put the project together, and then the GitHub code. So there's a lot of information and work, and the challenges that we'll run into. There's a lot of good information that we take back and do on this. So, and then there's the different tracks that they applied to. So good question. That was the question that just came in from x.com. So happy to answer more questions as we go through on this. Okay, so back to here. Okay, so I think I already went over most of this information. I just wanted to have the words so I didn't forget them. So we had zkVerify. The foundation was the main sponsor of this. Horizon Labs did a privacy track. for specific privacy applications, hyperbridge communications. That's the bridge that zkVerify is going to use to bridge to all the rest of Web3. Hyperbridge, really cool bridge based on Substrate and integrated with Polkadot, since zkVerify uses the Substrate blockchain kit or system to build as the base technical layer. We're really excited to be able to integrate with Hyperbridge. zkPass does some really interesting things with being able to do identity and do zkTLS. That's where you can prove that something on a Web 2 application through a browser is true. So it creates a zk proof based on that you can then verify and demonstrate that something is correct. And Sindri has cloud proving, because sometimes when you're doing infrastructure or more advanced types of zk proofs or systems that businesses or organizations need, you don't necessarily want to create the proof on your own personal device. You want to have it done by a cloud service. Sindri also has really good cloud tools that you can use to create zk proof circuits and applications. You should really check them out. Okay, so big picture goals of this hackathon. It's not just to get developers and award prizes, although that's the most visible aspect of it. We want to put the tools out there and put the ideas out there and encourage developers to create really a unique and interesting use cases of zkVerify. Like on the first zk hackathon that we went to, one of the developers created a project called zkGate, and it basically integrated zkVerify with the RISC-0 zk virtual machine and Telegram to create a Telegram app to be able to do private gated access to a chat by demonstrating that someone owns a specific amount of token. We're like, wow, that's really creative. So love to get creative ideas from people. So that's also to demonstrate what can be built. We want to award the USDC prizes to the developers that they demonstrated a solid effort and accomplished the ability to build a good project. And this is where all the judges did a deep dive on all the projects. We all voted, we had a discussion. And one of the main things that I wanted to emphasize is there needed to be a certain level of demonstrated effort and capability to be eligible to win a prize. And so then we're also awarding the zkVerify incentivized testnet points for participation. And what you may not know is that zkVerify is in testnet now, has been in testnet since March, and is going to mainnet maybe February. So February, March. So within a few months, there's a lot that needs to be done to bring a blockchain into production. Got to talk with, well, I'm not going to bore you with the details of that, but there's a lot. And so, but when we are going to mainnet, because zkVerify is a layer 1 blockchain, we have to have a token. So we're going to do a token generation event. So incentivized testnet points are going to, in some manner, lead to tokens. All right. First, 5th place. So fair play. Fair play was a really cool idea. And so these aren't all my feedback. I'm taking the aggregate words of the judges who have been to lots of different hackathons and are developers and seen this kind of stuff. But there was a few interesting things from fair play. So it's unlocking a risk-free prediction market, but what we thought was really cool about fair play was being able to demonstrate that a turn-based game was run properly. So this is one of the two main things that you can do with zk proofs is you can prove that a computation was done correctly. So when you're proving that a computation was done correctly, when I say those words, it sounds kind of boring, but it's really applicable to many different things. If you're going to be playing online games, whether they're Web 3 based or Web 2 based or whatever, you want to know those games are fair. You want to know those games were run fairly. You want to know that the randomness used in creating the game was actually random out to a certain number of digits. So provable randomness is a really cool application. We saw that with, we work with ApeChain. zkVerify is integrated with ApeChain, and ApeChain is a big gaming chain. So they're one of our development and design partners. And there's a game on there that does provable randomness, so they can prove that the battle space that was generated for the person-to-person combat game was actually done randomly. The character roles were done randomly. The loot boxes were done randomly. And this doesn't even talk about card games. You know, if you're going to play card games, which everybody understands, you want to make sure that the card game was done properly, that someone doesn't have that, you know, maybe 6 aces weren't dealt instead of 4. So there's a ton of applicability to turn-based games being demonstratively run in a fair way as an idea for all other things. So we got lots of good feedback from the developer on fair play. So this is 5th place. Okay, on to the next one. Okay, 4th place, $1,500 USDC. So ZK Market. So zero knowledge, dark market infrastructure. This one was a cool idea because, and I encourage you to go to this and look at these and look at the implementation. But the problem that was identified is, you know, if you're going to be selling something on a market, you don't necessarily want to be able to have the exact price out there. So this sets up different price bands, and that way you can make sure that the people that you're talking to can actually afford to buy what you're looking at. And it provides a way of doing, being able to prove that something is true without exposing all the underlying information. I think this general idea has huge applicability in payments. So one of the reasons that when I first got into the crypto space and saw ZK was so powerful is I come at it from a standpoint of a business owner. And a business owner isn't going to use Bitcoin because everything is public. My competitors will see how much I'm paying to all my suppliers. My competitors will see how much my customers are paying me. My employees will see how much everybody's getting paid because everything done on a blockchain is public. So there has to be some element of private payments. And that's why I helped co-found Horizon as one of the first private payments blockchains back in 2017. In fact, we're celebrating the halvening today. 8 years since the Genesis block. It's the second halvening. That's a whole nother topic, though. So the interesting idea is to be able to do things that somewhat shield the exact amounts, but stay within regulatory compliance. One of the really cool projects in this space is Pay, P-A-Y-Y. They've figured out a way to do regulatory compliant USDC payments person to person while hiding the actual amount that's being paid. So this creating different bands and hiding the specific amounts is a really neat idea that's going to go really far in this space. zkVerify isn't working with Pay yet. We need a Halo 2 verifier, and that's coming soon. So that's the other thing. We have a certain amount of verifiers written on zkVerify. Our goal within a few years is to have verifiers written for every single protocol out there. You know, all these new ZK proofs that people are hearing about, all these strange names like Binius and Ranokio and CircleStarks, and you know, there's all sorts of names out there. Being able to verify those all in one place and have our team of ZK experts keep them up to date, have them optimized, and verify them at low cost, and then have people be able to demonstrate that those verifications were done publicly or integrate into a Web3 smart contract. I think long-term is really going to work well. Okay, enough talking for me. 3rd place, zero knowledge voting. So classic example of what zero knowledge can be used for if it's affordable. Nobody's going to pay $10 to $20 per vote unless you're, a Tesla board member and for these really expensive, powerful votes. But if you want to do voting, I don't know, at your high school class leaders or your town or your business or something like that, and you want to do private voting, I think this is actually going to take off first in DAOs. So DAO voting, like I mentioned earlier, we work with 8chain. And the ape DAO's got a lot of money, especially because ape's been going up in price recently. And I would think that the people that vote for things on the ape DAO would love to be able to do private voting. So this is an implementation of private voting. Our team thought the implementation was done really well. So that's third place, $2,000. Second place, integration with a Galaxy Identity Protocol. Anybody that's been in this space for a while has probably used Galaxy to try to get additional crypto tokens. I had no idea that Galaxy had actually created an identity protocol, a decentralized identity protocol. Decentralized identity and verifiable credentials are one of the huge use cases for zero knowledge proofs. It goes to that example that I talked about earlier of demonstrating your identity and your age by just showing a picture and that you're above a certain age. There's a lot more granular type things that can be done, but the integration was straightforward. I've already reached out to the Galaxy team to see if we can get this added into their actual code, but it would be great. One of my concerns in working with Galaxy is that if I register with Galaxy and they get my email address and then they tie it to my Ethereum address, does that somehow go into a big database where they track my online activities, which I don't really like to have done? And even if they don't do it, what if their database possibly gets hacked and that information gets out there? So being able to have an identity that's a decentralized identity, and then being able to use zero knowledge proofs to create a separation between your on-chain activity and your identity. And this gets into the whole idea of what actually is an identity anyway. Is your identity given to you at birth by the country that you live in? Or if you immigrate to a country, are you given your identity by the government when they give you a passport? Or is your identity your family relationships, what you've accomplished in life, everything else? So being able to have identity that maps more closely to what people do as opposed to what their designated name, place of birth, and social security number is from the government is an interesting idea. Okay, we're coming up on the grand prize. So we had a lot of discussion on what should be the grand prize and why it is. So let me demonstrate. This is a test verify. Test verify was a really well done implementation. Thought the coding was outstanding. The idea here is to use the Ethereum authentication service, Ethereum attestation service to create an attestation and then prove that the attestation was done. So in a private way. So like we see in a lot of hackathons, this is a genesis of an idea that can be expanded into many other places. So you can see from the description here, the project implements a system, allows users to obtain private attestations from reputable sources. And so the integration with zkVerify was done very nicely. The integration with the attestation was done nicely. Good presentation, good discussion, good video, good code. Everything was done really well, and that's why a test verify is the grand prize winner. So I've got a couple other things to say. All right, so we had other bounties, but none of the other bounties, none of the projects met the requirements for these other bounties. And that's the way it is. However, Horizon Labs is running the incentivized testnet point for zkVerify. Horizon Labs is doing a lot of the development work for zkVerify, and Horizon Labs has a long history in the space of doing things in zk. So 700 incentivized testnet points are awarded to everybody, and so we'll definitely be talking to everybody who turned in a project on how you can get these incentivized testnet points. And there is also a lot of follow-up. So let's talk about what happens next. Every one of the judges that evaluated the projects had a number of good things to say about them. And so what I'm intending to do, and I've been in communication with many of you that have been participating in this hackathon, is I want to get that information back to you so you can think about what you can do next time to do even better. So just like I'm glad that y'all gave us feedback, we're happy to provide you your feedback. If you don't want the feedback, that's fine too. Just, we don't have to do that. And certainly we're going to, zkVerify is based in Cayman Islands, just like many of the foundations are and the DAOs are. And so it'll be pretty straightforward for the foundation to work with HU. So we have to do some basic verification that you are the actual person who did the coding and deserve the prize. We don't want to pay your prize to somebody who doesn't deserve it. However, because of the success of this hackathon, we're going to do another one. We're going to do another online hackathon right before we go to mainnet, because we'd love to be able to step right into the grants program that we're going to do after we go to mainnet, after our token generation event. So look for this. Already talking with sponsors who like what it is that we've done and like the high level and quality of participation for the people that turned in projects. We are, of course, going to be at in-person hackathons. We like to go to the ZK hackathons. We're going to be doing one at ETH Denver this year, as well as many other ETH conferences. And I want to thank everybody who turned in a project, everybody who looked at working with us at zkVerify, everybody who worked to learn what it is that you can do with our code. Thank you. Looking forward to having a long and mutually fruitful relationship with every one of you, and expanding more and more the participation, the projects that we're building, and the cool things that we can do with ZK proof verifications in the future. So that's all I have. Yes, exactly. Congratulations, winners. Thank you. You all did great. Congratulations to everybody that turned in a prize. And for those that didn't turn in a prize, definitely going to communicate with you, because there's other discussions we want to have about possible future things that we can do. So thank you.